Corps approval. If you proceed, the city can be faced with enforcement and possible litigation from several federal agencies. Recommend that you review the Corps permit for accuracy based on plans and specifications, and most importantly, its environmental impacts, and delay a vote on permit approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let me caution you, it's not a contest or anything. Please hold your applause. Again, it's not even a public hearing. We're just here to hear your concerns this evening. So if you would, don't mind hearing a few of the comments from you. Just come up, give us your name and your address, please.
My name is Ian Thomas McIntosh. I'm at 2227 4th Avenue North. My first question is actually just a question. I don't know if this is, I'm asking, but is not the Cahaba River like a source of drinking water? I'm asking because I don't know.
It probably is.
Probably is.
I
I noticed on this map though, there's no proximity to the water. If you look on Google Maps at the address, you'll see there's 2 access points to the river, and you can't see either on this map. I feel like it's being a little misleading.
I understand. All right, thank you. All right, anyone else might have a comment?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jenny Brown, 4154 Riverbrook Road. I've lived in Irondale for 42 years. I'm very familiar with this property and also the property down at the Cahaba River and the trails. I spent hundreds of hours out there working for Freshwater Land Trust and the other environmental groups. That site is heavily overused and abused. And as you're probably familiar with, and to answer your question, yes, it is a source of about 50% of Birmingham's drinking water and 1/5 of Alabama's total drinking water. So, and the rest of it comes from Black Warrior and other sources. But anyway, it is a major source for the water supply. And absolutely everything we do needs water. And we know from our own water issues that this is a problem. Downstream from this is the intake for the water source. And I think we'll probably have somebody here from Cahaba River Society that will address where that is. But coming back to my concerns about this, that property has been undeveloped. I've been here 42 years, and there's never been anything on that property. It's R4, but it's an abandoned R4. It was never functioned as R4. What happened? I don't know. Maybe they said, well, let's do it and let's explore it, and it's too rugged, for us to get in there and do that, too risky. At that time, they would have had to have put in septic systems because I don't think public sewer was available down there. So for whatever reason, it's an abandoned R4. It has functioned for, I know, 42 years as an open space, as a mountain, as a wildlife refuge. These animals have been breeding, they've been in there forever. And they move back and forth. There's all manners of wildlife. And not only land animals, but in all those streams that flow into the river. But it has never been used as anything but, it never functioned for anything except open space. So this would be a huge change, a huge disruption to everything in there and to the integrity of the river. But I just don't know how you'll avoid it. But I do have some concerns. I wanted to ask some questions about the fencing. Does that go around the perimeter of the development?
You're talking about the green space?
Yeah,
It's a required green space which they would have to comply with, yes.
And so the gate, you said it's a gated community. So how far does the gate go?
It's at the entrance. I
Okay,
believe.
all right, so. And this area, are these topo lines? What is this? Okay, so my main point is this is never functioned as anything but undeveloped property, although the city didn't own it. We did set it aside on the comprehensive plan to be used for green space and open space. It was overlaid right on it, and your development fits exactly right over the green space that we thought that's where we would be. And the main point is that this is uninterrupted habitat all the way down to the river. It's unfragmented at this point, and which is very difficult to find. We can't recreate this, put it back up and say, well, we'll put up a zoo or we'll move over here or do something. Right now, it's unfragmented down to the river, and it's very important. We can't, once it's gone, we can't put it back.
Thank you. Anyone else might have a comment? Yeah, yes, ma'am. Donna, yeah. Could you give us your name and your address, please?
I'm Donna Pike, and I live at 440 East Ventura Drive. And what in the world made you pick this problem congested area? The traffic, there's always been a problem there. And when you get children and school buses and cars, it is going to be another nightmare. So I don't know if you got it on a foreclosure sale or whatever, but it's not going to work.
Let me pause you there just for a second. The zoning has, those things probably came into play with the zoning request. So, but again, we kind of refer back to
Okay.
the permitting issue, which is what's in.
Well,
what we
I
were
want to tell
discussing
this
about.
board
Yes, ma'am.
that I live between two apartment complexes that are in Irondale. And I want to tell you that I don't give much credit. Oh, we're going to have a gated community, and we're going to have a pool, and we're going to have a clubhouse. Come over to Hunter Ridge and Colonial Village and look what they started out with and what they've got now. Nothing. And so it has been a drain on our first responders. It has been a drain on our school system. It is littered. Now the dumpsters at Hunter Ridge are sitting by the highway. So people take their garbage and they forget it, and Highway 11 is an utter total mess all the time. Colonial Village, they all had gated communities and they had a clubhouse. Go see them. They're all shut down now. So I don't put much stock in all that glitz and glamour. You know, they start out good and then it's not pretty. And so this being in a congested area, which Hunter Ridge and Colonial Village are not, it's already a mess. And this has always been a mess. That's why we had to put up a light that cost $150,000 and widen that road. And then they want to put this on the corner of Church of the Highlands. Ladies and gentlemen, you really need to think about this. You really do. Because once it's done, it'll never be undone. And the city has no jurisdiction over making them do right. Because we tried to get them to move the dumpsters and they didn't have to. Because it's on private property. So when you're building something like this and you have no jurisdiction to make the people keep it up and do what they're supposed to do to be good neighbors. And the Hunter Ridge property is the edge of my community. And we have always lived with that fear. Because there have been murders, there have been people shot in the doorway, there have been wrecks, you name it, it has happened. I'm not assuming anything because I've lived there and I've seen it. Thank you.
All right, anything else? We got time for a couple of more people. I just will take this opportunity to say with large development, I mean, we all live in the community, okay? So when you have a large development project such as this, and I would say it's large, I mean, the auto mall, that was a huge building event here in Iredell. The Publix, the grocery store, which most of us all wanted. The Church of the Highlands, when they came to Irondale, those were all huge development projects that went through a process. And so again, this is not a zoning change, it's more of a permitting request for this evening. So I'll let that lay and ask if there's anybody else that has just comment. I got one more hand up in the back here. I'll come over to you. And again, let's try to focus on the requirements of section 514. That's what we're here to review this evening.
I think this addresses that.
That's fine.
Tuck Cornegay, 394 Stonebridge Road.
Butch needs to hear that. So tell us your name one more time.
Tuck Cornegay, 394 Stonebridge Road.
All right, thank you.
I see no compelling reason to grant the variances in the zoning, either the square footage or the grade.
And that's not in this board's purview.
I just wanted to make
Okay,
that,
just on record.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, no, thank you. All right, I did have another hand up. Was it this lady right here? And then we'll take a couple of more. Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Leslie Lackey. I live on Rex Lake Road in Leeds, Alabama.
One more time.
Rex Lake
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Road, Leeds, Alabama, which Irondale's also on our road. I would like to tell y'all, we have seen over 34 years of a lot of encroachment out here. I understand capitalism is a good thing. I believe in it, but not at the expense of destroying the environment. There's a subdivision that was built in between our house and Rex and Barber's Racetrack right now. And I'm going to tell you, the wildlife is being compromised. We don't have enough space to support that. The drinking water, we explained to the man who started the Shell's gas station on Grants Mill Road that it would take the sheriffs to get from Bessemer to that place, and they couldn't get there fast enough from a robbery occurring and possible death. There's been 2 robberies there. And then, there was also the machine gunning of the Lamborghini store. And so we need to remember what this brings into the community, as well as the drinking water. And there were Artesian Springs ruined for the Shell station being built there. And we got a lot of gas on that road. If y'all need gas, come on out to Rex Lake Road. We got Buc-ee's, and we got Shell, and we got Chevron. So y'all come on out. But it has affected the animals. It has affected the topography of the town and the streets and the safety of our community. So I'm concerned because it's going to have an increase in police. Y'all are going to have to pay for more of that, more fire and rescue. So that does affect what they're addressing here tonight. It all comes together. It's going to cost a lot of money for the city of Irondale. And the schools will have to be increased. So taxes are going to go up for all the people who live in Irondale. That's my comment, that we need to think about the environment to protect it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I had a couple, wait a minute, we got a lady beat you with her hand up right back here in the back, so. And again, if you could give us your name and your address.
It's Michael Ann Markowitz, 478 Cahaba Landings Road. Thanks for listening to our concerns. I don't have the qualifications that Mr. Bavona has, but I do read. And I do notice that we're talking about a protected open green space. And I've also read that Irondale, being part of the stormwater management plan, because of where it's designated, construction sites are to be permitted as either low-impact development or green infrastructure development. Those are the 2 options according to the stormwater management plan. So how is this a low-impact development or green infrastructure for permitting? In addition, on page 19 of the stormwater management plan, landowners and developers must mimic pre-construction hydrology runoff. So that's a requirement. And there must be a post-construction management plan that Irondale has to follow. So my concern is not ever seeing this type of follow-through from the city of Irondale. We've already seen that this blueprint's not necessarily followed. In addition, there's no public notification that everyone's decided not to follow the blueprint. So for future reference, if we paid for these blueprints for future development, I think it would provide more confidence in the community if there was public notification that we're revising and we're going to change the way we permit. But most importantly, the concern here is, I understand you can only permit it as low-impact development or green infrastructure. So those are my comments. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your time and your comments. I did have one other hand that went up right here. If you just, yes, ma'am. You just give us your name and your address. And thank y'all for being very patient and orderly with us. Again, we live in the city. We want to do what's right for the city as well, with the guidelines that we work with. So, yes, ma'am.
I am Mary Scherer at 5276 Amber Hills Road. I love the Cahaba. And so I know this is not about the Cahaba, but it's about the green space that surrounds the Cahaba, the birds, the fish, the endangered species. But also, I am friends of, or was friends of, Betty and Buddy Horst, who owned the property. Carla Horst, not Carla Horst, is remarried. She said there's a spring, there's a cave, there was a lake. What's going to happen when they hit it? We need it. We need the study to find out what's going to happen. That is on that property. Because the whole family owned all of that property, from all the way down by where I call it the gorilla, all the way up that hill. There was a florist. There was flowers planted. It was all, the Mr. Horst really believed that this was a green area. And there is a spring. There was an actual lake that and a dam that was put in to create that lake. It's on that property. And she apologizes that she couldn't make it here tonight, but she had surgery a few weeks ago and could not make it, but she had planned to come. I think just as far as the zoning, it's zoned. We can't help that. We can't change that. But I think as a city, we need to have we need to go back and rethink that the river didn't look like it looks today, 30 years ago. It didn't have the problems that it has today, 30 years ago. So we need to take a moment, step back, and take a look at if we can add environmental things to protect our rivers, to protect our streams, to protect the things that we think are important. And that's just a comment, not about really about this, because this is zoned, but because we have people who have invested money and they purchase things at a certain zoning. But as we go to permit, we should be thinking about what we put in the actual zoning codes, that these things have to be, that we want to see these permits. We want to see what you're going to do about the runoff. You know, we talk about the silt hitting the Cahaba. That's the biggest killer. That's one of the biggest killers. You know, our library, go on, drive by there today, because I did. Our own library is running silt down onto the street, and there's no grass planted. It's springtime. It's the rainy season. Was there winter rye planted to keep it from running off? No, it's not there. So how are we enforcing our own qualifications? And this is going to be more stringent. It's way up high and it's right by the river. Those are my comments. And oh no, one more thing. We're the upstream part of the Cahaba. Down below us, we've got Vestavia Hills, Cahaba, Hoover, and the water is running. So if we silt it up, they're going to get it. And if they're doing their part to keep the river clean, what are they going to say to us? Trustful's above us, but Irondale's here and then it's heading that way. So we can think about what silt is doing to our part of the river, but we also need to be thinking about what's it doing to the whole river, because it's moving. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. I'm going to pause right now and ask our board, does our board have any questions, comments after hearing the audience and after hearing the presentation? Yes, sir. Marty.
up top, closer to your fingers. There you go.
That's all.
Okay. I was unaware, and I just want to ask maybe Ryan or Greg about the stormwater management plan. Is that a true statement that it needs to be either low impact or green space permitted?
Our stormwater management ordinance does require both water quantity and water quality measures to be used at a site to reduce.
Okay, thank y'all for that. And if you would, just speak a little louder or come to the microphone. So we want everyone to hear every comment we can, so.
So, the city of Irondale does have a post-construction stormwater management ordinance, which requires developers to look at stormwater quantity and quality, and they have to provide measures to make the stormwater quantity leaving the site equal to or less than that of pre-development before anything is built on the site, as well as treat a certain amount of water quality that's required by that ordinance. So we have been reviewing their plans to make sure that that ordinance is followed.
Just to follow up, because I'm naive about this. Is it a requirement though for permitting, since this is 514s for permitting, to have those specific requirements about either low impact or green space? Is that?
Yes, so it is required for permitting. We cannot approve a permit until that ordinance is addressed. And that does include low impact development measures such as water retention, which is one method that they're using.
Okay, thank you.
As a follow-up question, you consider that to be addressed? You made a comment that those things needed to be addressed in order for the permitting process to continue. You consider those items to be addressed?
Yes.
Understood. Thank you.
Does our board have any other board member have a question? Comment? Again, I'll say, depending on what this board chooses to do as from an action standpoint, that this project, I'll say project, must comply with every requirement that's in 514. And I had one follow-up question. Is there going to be a bond posted for this work and site work? And the amount of that bond, is it sufficient to cover this project or any issues that might arise out of this project?
Yes, we'll be able to discuss with them.
To protect the city?
Yes.
Okay,
There's
thank you.
always a bond on land disturbance and direct.
Yes. Those are the two questions that I had. Does the board have any other questions or comments? Well, if not, we'll ask for a motion for the, from the board.
Could I make one comment? You still have one.
Well, we had several comments. Sure, okay.
I'm going to take this off because I've received several calls on this, and I need to have these questions answered because I don't know, but maybe someone else here can answer the questions. What I've heard is that when you look at the map for the hub at Grants Mill, that the map that's shown is not totally in Irondale city limits. Is that true?
Is this entire property in the city limits of Irondale? It is.
Okay, good. That confirms that.
Okay.
The other comments to make, and I did speak with one P&Z board member, Mr. Schwartz, about it, because I've received several calls on this from other municipalities that are going to be downstream. And the question I have, and I would like you to really, really think about this, because the city, if there is something that will happen, and you have the sedimentation, and you have all of these other issues that do arise, the city will be in jeopardy of several lawsuits from these other municipalities that will be impacted. And I really want assurances that we won't be faced with that, because this is our city. And people will do these things, and if there is substantial evidence for this to happen, this falls on us. And this needs serious thinking. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'll just add to that, and I'll say, based on those comments, the city engineers looked at these plans, is my understanding, and should, in my opinion, if there's a motion to move this forward, it should be subject to any ZBA approval after the fact from this board. Also for the city engineer to approve this entire project, and also the city inspector's review, and I think we have some information from the fire department with their approvals on the grade, if I remember, if that's correct. Okay. So with that said, I'll ask the board if the board has any more questions, follow-up questions, and or a motion. I mean, again, this is on the permitting of this request. So we'll just ask for a motion to move this permit forward, or if there's, pardon? Sure.
Let me ask this question from the team. Everything that you've heard tonight, is there anything that you heard tonight that you would like to address for clarity from the team? Is there anything that y'all?
Talking about the hub,
Right.
not the audience.
Is there anything that you've heard tonight that you would like to address for clarity for the record?
Have to.
Yeah.
Hey, Joseph Weldon, 1 West Montcrest, Birmingham. There's a question about the endangered species there on that, which is a valid question. We did a full endangered species habitat assessment there to determine whether that there is any endangered species, and we complied with that. That was part of it. And then we also did a cultural assessment research there. There were no sites found there. We have our ADEM permit, which is important as well, just to notify that.
Make the comment that all of the concerns that are raised about sedimentation, drainage, and the like are all permitting issues, and that the city has authority over and can require that they be met, adhered to, and much of it is post-construction as well, as is indicated by the city engineer. So yes, all those concerns are addressed in your code, and have been addressed by the team and reviewed by your staff.
Then there's, I guess I would add one more thing. We've done a full geotech study on that site as well, on that, and that was all incorporated in our design.
I mean, I think Irondale lived here a long time. It's a very welcoming community, but we always do want to make sure that any project like this meet and or exceed all the requirements. And I believe that from my personal standpoint, and I'll go back to the board, just ask the board. Excuse me, if it's ready for a motion at this point. Wait a minute, we are.
If I could also say something as well, it just, if the board does approve this, that does not automatically mean that there will be a building permit issued. This is just one step in the actual process. And so it will still go through, its normal process. This is just one step in that. So I just want to make sure that that's, clear as well.
Thank you. All right, going back to the board. Any motion at this point?
Make a motion to approve case 2025-2-1, subject to ZBA approval for unit size and grade, and along with approval by the city engineer and city inspector.
There's a motion to approve it and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nays? Any abstentions? Can we get a roll call, please?
4.
4. Result there. Oh, I'm sorry, I was making a note. Thank you very much. Okay, and what that means is this board has enough information that they think this has been satisfied from these regulations, and it'll move to, the ZBA, if it's so appropriate, and they take it there, and the city engineer will review this as well, and also the city inspector. that's the only thing we had on our agenda this evening, so, there's no other business. We'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by David, second by Claude, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank y'all, and thank y'all for being so patient with us tonight.